Hey everyone, it's Celeste and welcome to my booktube channel. I wanted to film an update because I have been really busy with work and just dealing basically in life, and so I was like, oh, I don't think I've filmed anything lately, and there's a video on my SD card that I need to put on YouTube, so I'll just check and see. And I saw that my last upload was September the 19th. That'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. So I didn't really mean to take such a hiatus, but it turned out that way. And I'm okay. It's just the last school year was difficult for reasons. And then this school year has been difficult for other reasons, but kind of related reasons, right? Like we're still masked up at the school that I'm at, and but we're back. There's not a virtual option, and my class sizes are huge, and I'm still having to use some virtual components. Like I'm still having to keep things online because sometimes people have to quarantine. And that's another thing, is that this anxiety over getting COVID, because you're in a room with a lot of other people and there's, you can't social distance. And then if I test positive, then I have to miss 10 days, and those are my days. And man, because last year there were like programs and such, so this year we don't have that. So like, yeah, like there's just anxiety that go. Anyway, let's talk about books, because that's a much better thing. So I'm good, I'm fine, I've been around, and I've been reading, like so like September I had Ignore the Noise. Dominic is in the next room, and there's a cat locked up in another room, so there's noises here and there. So let's see, I finally finished Take a Hint, Danny Brown on September the 18th. So, and I didn't talk about that in my, or maybe I did talk about that in my upload. I also listened to the audiobook for Who is Maud Dixon by Alexander Andrews. I'm looking at my phone, in my cheat sheet. Okay, and then let's see. Oh, so since I last posted, I listened to the audiobook of Coal Miner's Daughter, because I grew up listening to Loretta Lynn when I was, it's written by Loretta Lynn, but I grew up listening to Loretta Lynn because of my grandmother, and I would visit her every summer, and Loretta Lynn was one of her faves, so it was something to listen to. It's narrated by Sissy Spacek, who plays Loretta Lynn in the movie, and it's, the biopic about her life. And all of that was done in the 70s. Man, that book was a ride. Like, I realized that it's in the 70s, and so some of what she says, I'm like, right, because I'm listening with 2021 thoughts and whatever. But she talks about like the way that she talks about her marriage, and the way that she talked about topics like heritage and lineage, and she talked about topics like ghosts or reincarnation and things like that, and I was just like, whoa, I wasn't ready for all that. Anyway, that was a cool read. I read on my Kindle let's see, I had already read the first of the Tea Dragon Society, like the first volume, early in September, and so late in September I read the Tea Dragon Festival, which is the second volume of that, and it's so inclusive, and it's so like wholesome, and the art style is just beautiful. And that's by Kay O'Neill. I listened to the audiobook The Lady and the Highwayman by Sarah M. Eden. A lot of, when I looked on Goodreads about Sarah M. Eden, a lot of what she has written is like Regency, I guess, or Victorian romance, but it's like marked as like clean romance, which is great if that's what you're into. But I find that things that are labeled clean tend to be clean of interest. I don't know. That's being mean. But this was, I picked it, I listened to the audiobook. It was part of the Audible Plus catalog, which there's some gems hidden in a lot of garbage on that. Just so you know. Like, if you have some time to scroll through the Audible Plus catalog, you'll be like, oh, I've always, yeah. And there's a few instances where I'll have a book on my shelf, especially if it's in a paperback form, and then I'll see it in the Audible Plus catalog, and I'll be like, gosh darn it, I spent money on that, and I could have listened to it for free. Because for me, listening to an audiobook is no different. It really isn't. Like, it's still reading. Like, I'm not gonna humor ableist thinking that it's not reading. So anyway, back to The Lady and the Highwayman. It's about this woman who is a gentlewoman, but she runs a school for girls, so it's like middle class, right? And she comes from genteel upbringing, and then she is writing, like, she writes publicly these genteel novels that are for like ladies and gentlemen, right? That are very clean and very like highbrow and use a certain vocabulary. And then she also writes the Penny Dreadfuls that are sold on the streets that are serialized. And Penny Dreadfuls had supernatural elements and mystery and suspense and all kinds of good stuff. And so she writes under a pen name, like a man's name, because A, she doesn't want to be revealed, and B, she's a woman. So yeah, it's time. And she has encounters with a society of gentlemen who write Penny Dreadfuls, and I enjoyed it. I gave it a good rating. The only thing I didn't like was the whole trope of, here are these terrible things about society, and we're the only ones who are aware and want to change it and whatever. And that's a little bit of like that we're saints and they're not kind of thing. But, you know, it's cool. It was fun. It was good. And there's 2 more books in that, but they're not in the Audible Plus catalog, so I may or may not listen to those. I don't know how I'd feel about reading them in their physical form. I don't know. I had to think about it. But I did enjoy the first book of that. The next one that I read, and I'm getting into like October reads, is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, which I also found in the Audible Plus catalog, but I read the physical book version, and I don't have it handy here, like around me to show you guys, but it is so cute. It's got like these cool 80s vibes. Let's see if I can, okay. Can you see that? Look at that. That is what the covers of our VHS cassette sleeves looked like in the 80s. For you youngins out there. And it is that novel's full of like the satanic panic, and it had, you know, some gruesome things, but it also, Grady Hendrix did an excellent job, I think, with talking about like young female friendship. Female friendship is it's something that is hard to write for some people, not just men, but also women sometimes. It's like an interesting dynamic. I think Grady Hendrix did an excellent job of that in My Best Friend's Exorcism, and it's well done. Like, it's just, like, I'm a fan. Like, I will admit, I didn't give Horror Store a high score, but the ones that I've read since that, yeah, I don't regret any of them. Okay. On my Kindle, I read The House Next Door by Darcy Coates. I think I've mentioned this before. I have like a love-hate relationship with Darcy Coates. Darcy Coates. Oh, some of the books are just so terrible, but they're in Kindle Unlimited. They're free. And that's another thing. See, like, maybe I need to get off the Plus catalog and the Unlimited. But anyway, it had to do with this haunted house and this woman who had lived next door, and she talks about seeing families run out in the middle of the night. And honestly, I thought that it was one of the better Darcy Coates books that I have read. Honestly, like, some of them were just like really in a lot of different ways. But this one I felt like had a better form to it, and a better and a more cohesive outcome. So there's that. That was on my Kindle. And then the last thing that I have read is a graphic novel on my Kindle called Brave Chef Brianna, I'm going to say Brianna, by Sam Sykes. And it has a cute art style and it has an interesting premise, but some of the themes that are in it I did not jive well with, because it's this young chef and she's trying to prove herself, and her father is a great chef, and she's having to strike out on her own, right? Run her own restaurant. And she moves to Monster City, which is a city populated by monsters, all different types of monsters that you could think of. And so she starts to open this restaurant, and she hires a young woman who is like part woman, part bird. And she makes a friend with like one of the only other humans that is in the city. And they start, trying to get the restaurant off the ground. And after you get through the first volume, because it's like the first issue, it's like a compilation of different issues. It looks as though her nemesis is going to be this monster chef. And what threw me off course is that the monster chef woman she's angry at humans, and at first it doesn't seem clear as to like where that comes from, and then you get a little bit of backstory on her. She's older and she remembers how monsters were pushed from the human world, how humans would hunt them down and would persecute them. And so they've kind of sequestered themselves into Monster City, and now suddenly this human is here, and she doesn't follow all the rules. Like, they have rules about what kinds of ingredients you can use, and she broke the rules. And but what I didn't like is that this character is villainized, and it smacks of just like saying, hey, because like the young woman monster at one point even tells her, that was a long time ago, get over it. Maybe to you, but like it happened within her lifetime. So anyway, I rated that one lower because like, yeah, I was uncomfortable with that. And right now I'm reading, I actually have it here. I'm reading Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pembroke. I've had this paperback on my shelf for quite a while, and one L from the Book Bitch Literary Society was talking about it at our last meeting, about how it freaked her out, and she was asking us, have you guys read it? It really disturbed me. and then I was like, I have it on my shelf, but I've never read it. So I think this is the right time, right, to get into it. I'm not very far, like I'm only like, 10 or 15% in. But I plan on, carrying on. The audiobook that I'm listening to right now is, let's see if you can see it on here. Oh. Monster, She Wrote. The Women Who Pioneered Horror and Speculative Fiction. I believe that this was from the Plus catalog too. It's written by Lisa Kroger. And it's so good. It's nonfiction, and it's talking about female writers who were writing about horror and speculative fiction and mystery, like gothic novels and stuff. And it's really well researched, but also it's conversational. Like, there's funny little quips. I mean, like, you could tell from like the title of the book, Monster, She Wrote, which is kind of like a play on, the Angela Lansbury TV show Murder, She Wrote, right? Like, if you catch that, then you're of a certain age. Okay? And so I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's talking about authors that I'm familiar with, you know, like, it's mentioning authors like Mary Shelley, right? Like, yeah, of course, we've heard about her, right? But it's also mentioning female authors that I was not aware of, and some of their works and some of the dynamics between them. And I feel like I might need to look up some of these in the near future. I don't know, we'll see. And then I've been reading, because I have the ability to, like, my brain can kind of pocket information, so I don't really DNF. I'll just sometimes scoot a book to the side. I'll leave my bookmark in it, and then usually I can pick it up and it like starts coming back to me. So I did this to Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. I've picked that back up and I've read, you know, like 10% more within the last week. It's good, but it's just so long and I just need to like really get into it. And speaking of books that I'm trudging through, I still have The Great Alone on my Kindle. I'm going to finish it before the end of this year. I'm 60% done, but I hate it so much. I hate it. But 60% done in that book is over 200 pages, right? So I don't want to just give up on it when I've read that many pages. So I'm just going to have to suffer through the rest of them, I think. So anyway, that's my reading update. I have to read the book because we're meeting next week for the Literary Society, and yeah, if it weren't for audiobooks, I think you could tell, if it weren't for audiobooks, I don't know that I would be having really good reading months right now. Work is just tiring. Like, whenever I'm done for the day, my brain and my eyes, I'm just tired. Like, I don't know. Just not, if I can't get the things I'm doing for, you know, regular life done, then it's hard to justify getting through a lot of reading. So I am reading, but not as much as I'd like to. So anyway, I'm rambling. If you got this far, thank you for watching. You see my spooky orange glow? I've got some Halloween decor behind me in the window. So if you got this far, leave me a little jack-o'-lantern emoji in the comment section. That'd be great. I uploaded today a unboxing. I have 2 more unboxings to film, so I will be uploading those soon. So hopefully I won't be taking such a hiatus again. I didn't mean to. Sorry. But anyway, I'm back. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.